Yep, all good.
Cool. Right. Welcome along to a long time.
No.
I'll get it right eventually. Welcome along to a long time ago. Uh, my name's Adam, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Martin.
Hey,
We're on to episode 5 or part 5 of Obi-Wan. Thoughts?
I want to hear your thoughts first. What did you think?
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It still has its moments that sort of wind me up a little bit. But we'll get into that, of course. But
Yeah, yeah,
do you know what I mean? I don't know if that you feel the same.
yeah. I suppose there's a couple of moments, but again, it's nothing that really makes me enjoy the show any less.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
It's not so much that for me. It's more, oh, why didn't he do that sort of thing? That
mm.
goes through my head whilst I'm watching it. But
Yeah, I suppose there was one of those moments right at the end for me.
mm,
But
I imagine it was the same one.
for the most part, again, really, I thought fantastic episodes. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah. Few little surprises in there as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
we'll get into it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh, so we start. I don't know if you want to talk about the you know, uh, what do they call it?
I guess for the
Previously
cold,
on.
yeah, previously on. No, I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the 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 moment that opened up the episode for me was, yeah, yes, please,
Brilliant.
more of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
please.
Well, that's kind of what we were hoping for, isn't it? I
It
think we've
is,
spoken about it before, like flashbacks. We wanted to see that, and it's
yes,
good because it shows Hayden Christensen, as he was before, rather than all made up as burnt up Vader. So
that's right. And I think there was the whole argument that I've been seeing that if you're going to hire Hayden Christensen to be in a show, you need to have Hayden Christensen in the show.
yeah,
Because let's be honest, you could do anybody with scarred makeup on and anyone in a Darth Vader suit.
yeah,
So
it certainly wouldn't have needed to be him otherwise. So it's
no,
quite nice that they've made some sort of use of him properly, if you like.
yes, and as a prequel fan, as soon as the camera pans back and you see that little Padawan pony tail and braid,
Yeah,
you know what's happening straight away. And
yeah,
it took me a while to figure out what part of the timeline it was, but I noticed he still had his hand.
yeah,
So it must be just prior, perhaps, to Attack of the Clones.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that kind of got me straight away. I thought, I mean, I can't really talk about the snippets, but I'll just talk about the whole fight between the two. The training between the
Yeah,
two of them in the Jedi Temple as one whole scene because it was just brilliant. I mean, every part of it was brilliant. The nostalgia was brilliant. The outfits were dead on.
yeah,
The,
yeah,
the mullet and facial hair was dead on. I mean, the aggressive fighting style of Anakin, it was almost like Hayden Christensen had remembered all of his lightsaber or
yeah.
sword fencing training from the prequels, and it was like
He was
he was
straight
riding
back
a
into
bike.
character, really. Yeah,
Absolutely, it
yeah,
was great, and just it was kind of a moment that you never actually saw in the prequels, and Obi-Wan teaching Anakin lessons of the Jedi.
mm.
So that was also another aspect to it that I loved as well. So again, a bit like the Clone Wars, it's a scene that enriches the prequels a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
So all in all, I just again, being the big fan that I am, I think that scene could have happened and the rest of the episode could have been rubbish, and I'd still be talking to you now saying, "Oh, this was a
how good it
brilliant
was.
episode." Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
more, please. It's a
well,
shame it's taken to episode 5 to get to a flashback like this.
yeah, I think it sort of. Well, was the flashback going through Obi-Wan's head at the time? Do you think is that sort of why they were doing it? Because it coincides with the story of the episode, and him remembering how Anakin is. Um,
The way it was edited to me, it seemed to be like it felt like it was Vader who was remembering it because every time one of
okay,
the
yeah,
scenes finished, it went straight to Vader every single time.
yeah,
But I think it was from Obi-Wan's perspective, because Obi-Wan used the lesson that Anakin obviously never learned in that flashback to defeat him at the end. So yes, it probably was Obi-Wan thinking about it, but the way it was edited, every time it finished, you cut
were
to a close up.
It might have been Vader,
you cut to a close up of his face or his helmet. So, but then again, that was done on purpose because he'd obviously not learned the lesson. So, but I think as an audience, we were probably tried to tricked into believing that it was from his point of view,
perspective.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. And they didn't. I didn't. As far as I can see, I don't think they de-aged either of them.
No, it didn't look like it. Maybe a little bit, but they didn't go over the top with it. If they did,
No, there might have been a bit of airbrushing.
Didn't take it much away from the scene, but
no, I agree. I'm in a way, it's kind of nice that you weren't taken away from the scene by going, that looks a bit blurry, or his eyes don't look too good there. So yeah, I cannot say enough good things about that scene. I loved it, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and there was plenty more to come as the episode progressed. So
absolutely.
That was good. And then moves on to Vader then on board his ship, as you say.
Yeah, moved on to his personal Star Destroyer that he was on. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same one. It must be because it's his ship, but I've just completely blanked on the name of it. It's not the Executioner because that's his Super Star Destroyer. But
which one's the Ventador? Is it that? It's not that, is it?
No, I can't remember. I'll have to look that up. I can't remember. But yes, if it is that one, it's the one that he's on the end of Rogue One when he appears out of light speed as the Rebel fleet are trying to escape Scarif. So I mean, it's always nice to see the bridge of a Star Destroyer. Whereas the previous scene, it was all the nostalgic vibes from the prequels. The Star Destroyer scene gives you all the nostalgic vibes to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And perhaps you could argue that this episode is a really nice example of how you can have nostalgia from both in one episode.
Yeah.
Which is perhaps something we haven't had yet. And so
was there any of the prequels in there as well? From the top of your head?
In what way?
Sorry, sequels.
There was a sequel, Alien, that I spotted, but that's for the Easter eggs at the end.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Well, yes. When we get to the Empire attacking the base, just ask me that question again. And there was something that did remind me of the sequels. Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah. So then Reva appears.
Yes.
And Vader ranks her as the Grand Inquisitor.
Yes. Yep. Standard fare, I guess. I mean, we all saw this coming. He said we
saw
knew
the fate of it as well, I suppose.
Yes. I mean, at least she got the title for an hour.
Yeah.
So that was. But I mean, the Reva. I've really liked Reva in all the previous episodes, and I really liked her at the end of this episode. But she was a bit shouty, I found, in this episode. A bit too shouty.
I have found that throughout the series in places. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But nothing. Again, I think that's just in character for her. I think potentially, and we get to the part later, and we see potentially why she's like that.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty brutal in itself.
Been a difficult life, isn't
it? Yeah, getting stabbed twice in the gut can't be good for you.
No, but it seems we've learned from in the Star Wars universe is not the worst place to be stabbed.
No, apparently not. Yeah, apparently not.
There's a good survival rate from it, to be honest. But
not getting shot particularly. But I mean, we've had
Fennec Shand was shot.
Fennec was shot, yes. But then we had Tala in this episode who was shot, and she died.
Yeah, not so great.
Although, to be fair,
it was her own doing.
Yes, it was her own doing.
We're getting ahead of ourselves there. But.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, no, I think the irony is it's actually you're better off getting stabbed with a lightsaber through the gut than you are getting shot with a blaster.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, she got knighted as Grand Inquisitor, and I think it was all normal fare. Perhaps her going down to the planet, doing the business with the Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
so I mean, there wasn't anything spectacular there. I didn't think. It was just progressing the story to the main event really towards the end. But after these scenes, I think we ended up back on Jabiim and the path, and they're obviously all realizing that they've got to get off the planet.
Yeah, they're
because
in trouble.
The Empire's going to be there at any moment.
Yeah.
I'll skip over the shutter doors closing and the Leia having to come and fix it, because again, that's just a situation of the plot. They needed something to hold them up.
Of course,
So I don't think that's really worth talking.
Well, they had the evil Lola.
Yes.
The bad version of Lola.
Yeah.
Compromised, but yeah. I mean, which one's going to sell more Disney toys, eh?
Yeah, well, it does. I don't know if you noticed at the beginning where they have the flashes of all of the helmets and droids before the program starts. God, that looks like Mickey Mouse ears, doesn't it? But it shows up. It's not my favorite. Not my favorite.
Don't think it's many people's, but it is what it is at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. O'Shea Jackson Jr. I remembered his name this week. He plays Roken. Yeah,
we didn't get that last week. I had to put that in post.
I did. That's right. Yeah, I did notice. He had much more to do this episode, and a great character. I hope you see him again in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a possibility. I think that, as we said last week, perhaps there's these little strands being created in all different shows, and I'm sure more strands will be created in further shows, perhaps. So there's a possibility we could see him again. I hope so, because good character.
That Hardra appeared again.
Oh yes,
we were potentially, we thought it might happen, but we weren't. I
think I remember saying that I didn't think we'd see him again because there wasn't enough episodes and there was too much to happen. But it was nice to see him.
They have actually squeezed quite a bit into it all, into the series as a whole. For 6 episodes they've managed to
I agree. Perhaps a little bit argument of perhaps teeny bit too much branching storylines, but I mean, again, it's not the end of the world. I've still enjoyed every single episode. There's not one episode I've not liked, but it was good to see Hardra back. Some great lines again.
Some good comic relief in the episode. But
again,
that's what he's in for.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I wouldn't mind seeing him again in the future, because I think he's quite a good, entertaining character. And in Star Wars, you need some of those comic relief characters. So it was good.
Part of me does sort of want to see him as a Jedi type character, though. That's he feigned being a Jedi at the beginning, and then he made the comment of seeing now he knows what Jedi life feels like.
Can't say I'm as overly keen to see him as a Jedi as you, but I think I don't think you can have comedy relief Jedi characters.
Possibly not.
No, it's far too serious a business.
Yeah, fair enough. Moving on. So he had the Stormtroopers at the gate with the at the door with the Purge Troopers. Is that what you said?
Yes, we had quite a number of Stormtroopers, so it's nice to see that they've invested a lot of money in the outfits, because in the past they would have all been CGI'd, wouldn't they? So that was nice to see.
Do you know, it did remind me of the images you sent me from Galaxy's Edge.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's
a good point. Actually, I didn't think that. It does look a lot like that. Them all lined up. It was
got them all there.
It was a good scene. I really enjoyed the landing, and they were all lining up in front of the door. But going back to your previous question, while I remember, this scene kind of reminded me a little bit, perhaps on a smaller scale, but it did remind me a little bit of The Last Jedi, where the First Order are come down to Crate, and they're trying to blast the door to get into the rebel base.
Is that where the ice critters were, or whatever?
That's right. Yeah, the salt planet.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
and they kept bombarding the door, but the door was holding out. So that did remind me a little bit of that. But again, I really enjoyed seeing all the Empire's full might. That was great. That leads us on to Obi-Wan go. Sorry, go on.
I was going to just sort of take over from that. Obi-Wan then trying to reason with Reva. So he asked for a chat with her, and then that's when we find out her story, essentially, which is as we all expected.
Yeah.
Her being the Padawan, or the youngling back at Order 66, and Obi-Wan called it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice little scene, wasn't it? The two of them talking through the Force. I don't think they were actually talking through the door. I think they were using the Force to perhaps talk to one another.
I did wonder if that would possibly be the case. But
yeah, and I did like that scene. As you say, we've been guessing that she was the youngling.
Yeah,
I was up in the air, I think, about her being in it to take out Vader. I wasn't sure whether that was going to be the case or not. But as it turns out, that was the case.
You'd think she would probably know better.
Well, yeah, I mean, considering she's seen what he's been up to or what he's capable of, including to her in the last couple of episodes, you would think she'd know better. But I think the idea was she was going to try and get close enough to him that he would perhaps trust her enough to be that close to be able to take him out. But for us,
his guard sort of thing.
Exactly. And it was a good idea, I suppose, story-wise, but there's no jeopardy for us because we know that she's not going to succeed because obviously we've seen the next film.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I liked Reva as character. I kind of like the storyline, but this scene kind of did make me think, well, I wish they'd kind of left Reva out of it, kept the Inquisitors in the background doing things, but got rid of Reva and just made Vader the main antagonist throughout the series, him hunting Obi-Wan and him doing some of the things that Reva was doing. Because as a huge prequel fan and Star Wars saga fan, I'm invested in the Obi-Wan Anakin / Vader story. I'm not particularly invested in the Obi-Wan.
Worried about what's going on.
Yeah,
with Inquisitors and whatnot.
Well, I mean, I don't mind the Inquisitors, but when this series, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be Vader hunting Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan trying to avoid Vader, and how they finally get to face each other again. But it's kind of been Vader after Obi-Wan via Reva, if that makes sense. And,
there was quite a lot of them. Again, we've said it in previous episodes, how easy they've managed to escape.
Yes, yeah.
But if he really wanted to, it seems like he could have caught him on many occasions.
Yeah, definitely.
So we almost have to wonder what his end game is here.
You bring up a really good point, because if we had a series where every couple of weeks or every couple of episodes Obi-Wan managed to escape Vader, it would make Vader look weak. Yeah. So maybe that's the reason they've inserted Reva, because much like the animated series Rebels, they had to add the Inquisitors so that they could be like the movie, or the villain of the week.
Yeah.
Because that way they could defeat them. Whereas if they had Vader every week, it would destroy his character to the point where when you watched episode 4 and 5, perhaps as a new audience member, you'd think, oh well,
he's not
Ezra and Sabine, they managed to defeat him that week in last week's cartoons. So maybe that's why they did it.
Yeah, pretty good shout, I think.
Yeah, but that flashback that they had while they were talking, where Anakin walks in with the 501st, absolutely brilliant again.
Yeah.
Walking through the Jedi Temple, I mean, brutal, absolutely brutal. I mean, taking out the younglings, and they didn't hold back either.
No, they didn't. They didn't show too much, but
no,
you could tell, you could see quite easily what was happening. And
well, they certainly showed more than they did in Revenge of the Sith. That's for sure. I mean, you saw the lightsaber strike the kid, from an overhead view. So I was quite surprised at that, but. Again, I think that's good character development to show how evil he's become.
Yeah. Well, we've seen him snap a kid's neck as well. So.
Well, yes. That's
they
a very fair
back
point
at this point, are they?
No, not at all. So I guess that leads us up to Reva cutting the door with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Not quite sure why she didn't do that to start with, but.
Well, that's what I was going to say, that it took all those blasts and then she just cut through it like knife through butter.
Yes, well, yeah, she cut the lock on the inside though. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, super
But
strong lock.
well, okay. Well, the thing they put in front of the door to, like they would do on a medieval castle door. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, we'll just say lock.
Yeah, we just say lock. But
so she cut that away.
Cut that away.
Battle sort of commenced.
Yes, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
All those stormtroopers living up to the stormtroopers mantra of not being able to hit anything, even a range of about 6 feet.
Yeah, doing exactly what they did.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I mean, again, we saw some great Obi-Wan. You know how much I said last week. I enjoy the Jedi deflecting blaster bolts with lightsabers. There was plenty of that. I loved all of that. Yeah. The way it was filmed, it was really manic. I really enjoyed that as well. The fact that they were all piling in and they were piling it back in retreat, and there were people falling left and right, people fighting hand to hand with the stormtroopers. It did feel quite desperate. I thought that was a really, really nice way it was filmed. So again, something you don't necessarily see in Star Wars, but good.
No. And it also showed Obi-Wan, getting stronger with the Jedi, with the Force, with his Jedi skills.
Yes.
For instance, when Reva first opened the door, he force pushed her all the way back through the stormtroopers.
Yeah, that was great.
Which was good. Yeah, and then you've obviously got the stormtroopers advancing despite their inability to shoot straight.
Yeah,
and I quite enjoyed the loading droid. Was it?
Oh yes, I think loading droid.
And they were trying to take him out, and he just grabbed one of them and smashed him into the ceiling. And
yeah, that was great.
And pushed another one down through, like a bowling ball.
That was superb.
A load of pins. It was good.
You could
see he was trying to protect Tala as well. So it wasn't just a loading droid, was he? He obviously had some sort of affiliation.
Oh, absolutely. He was there to protect her in some way. I think he did remind me a little bit of K2SO.
I was going to say, I think somebody else said that as well recently, but definitely.
Just like you said, the way he protected Tala when she was hit, to stop her from getting hit anymore. It kind of reminded me of K2SO's relationship with Cassian Andor, and how he protected him and fought to the end, sort of, until the last spark, if you like. That was good.
So there was more nostalgia than we realised in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. Then of course, obviously, talking of Reva gets hit in the stomach. Probably could have made it, but decided.
Full back.
To be fair, I don't think she would have made it back to the door.
No. There was more to it. Actually, I didn't spot her get hit in the stomach.
Oh right.
What was that?
Yeah, she gets hit. Yeah, she gets blasted in the stomach, and she reaches down and she sees the blood. And Obi-Wan's obviously desperately trying to get to her to rescue her, and the droid's covering her. But I thought it was a great. Again, really enjoyed her character.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to see her again.
I thought you said Reva got hit in the stomach a minute ago.
Oh no, Tala.
Tala, yeah.
Tala, yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah. And
then she sacrificed herself to save everyone, really.
Yeah, thermal detonator.
Yeah, makes Reva fall back with everyone.
Yep, but again, nice little "May the Force be with you" from Tala. Again, perhaps maybe igniting a little bit of hope in Obi-Wan. Oh, actually, before we go any further, we should probably refer back to what Tala said in the scene just after he got the message from Bail Organa.
Oh, yes.
I wrote it down. Some things you can't forget, but you can fight to make them better. I thought that actually is probably the mantra of the whole series. Obi-Wan starts off as a broken man, but meets all these people that make him realize that he's been through this trauma, but he can fight.
Fighting for.
Absolutely. So I really, really loved that bit of dialogue. Off that, it was fantastic. And again,
did that sort of set you up to realise what her fate was going to be?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I actually thought she'd die last episode when they were on the platform trying to escape the Inquisitors base.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say it.
Fortress Inquisitorium.
Fortress Inquisitorius.
Inquisitorius. Even I got it wrong.
Yeah. So that was great. Again, it's a shame we won't see her again. Although saying that we might do, because there could always be a series that takes place before this where she turns up.
Yeah.
Because we know she's
going to say she's definitely not going to appear in this one now.
No,
she may have been hit in the stomach, but
she's not going to make
the thermal detonator might have done it.
That'll do the job.
Yeah, that's good. So then Obi-Wan surrenders himself, doesn't he?
Yes. This was took a while for me to get my head around what was going on here.
Same, I think. Yeah. Because he obviously. Wow. Did he have a plan, or was he originally just trying to let them escape?
No, I think after his talk with Reva at the door, he realised that he could use Reva in order to perhaps distract Vader into focusing solely on. Well, I think his plan was Vader would be solely focused on Obi-Wan, and then Reva would be able to sneak up behind him and kill him. Vader, that being Vader. But Obi-Wan never had any intention of staying behind.
Yeah, so he's completely double-crossed Reva there.
Yeah, he's double-crossed Reva, I think.
Left her for dead again.
Yeah.
So she's going to have a lot of...
Yeah, we'll probably get into that a bit
issues.
Later. Yeah. So when Vader does arrive, lands on the planet. Obviously, Obi-Wan escapes the two stormtroopers that are guarding him. Vader lands, comes down onto the base, starts like opening doors with his hands with the Force. Just absolutely brilliant. Walks in,
super strong now.
Yep. One of the moments of the series, the shuttle is about to take off, and he just brings it down with the Force,
and then proceeds to rip it apart, which was just awesome.
I thought at first, oh, he's bringing the ship down. This is so cool. Oh, he's so powerful, man. This is absolutely brilliant. And then as you say, he rips it apart, and I was surprised and shocked that he was doing that. Again, brutal, absolutely brutal. And brilliantly, Obi-Wan was right. He was so focused on getting on Obi-Wan, he wasn't aware of what else was going on around him.
Yeah.
And in the background, through the window, you could see the second shuttle.
This is kind of where I felt like there were issues. So, referencing back to part 3, when we said about him, force jumping over the fire.
Okay, yeah.
At the very end, just to get to Obi-Wan, he could have potentially just pulled that ship down as well. I think it took off a bit quicker, but
a lot quicker.
Yeah, but his power's still there.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'll give him a pass on this one, purely because you're right. The ship did take off a lot quicker. Yeah. I mean, we're talking a lot quicker. That was just sort of hovering in the air as he walked in.
Yeah.
And plus, as we know from characters like Yoda, when you've used the Force that much,
it
takes your strength and knackers you out. Yeah. To use an English word. So yeah, I again, it's a big pass for me on that. I think that's totally plausible.
It was a good misdirect as well. I mean, Obi-Wan's played him, as we saw in like all the flashbacks.
Sure.
It was a reference to that, really, wasn't it?
It was great. Yeah. And then obviously we have the last moment of that flashback where.
Oh, right. Go on. Yeah.
The episode or pre-episode 2 flashback, Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan actually defeats him in the lightsaber duel and teaching him the lesson. And I just want to keep that in the back of your mind, because I might come back to that in a minute or two about that lesson. But if we move on to Reva coming in,
trying to sneak up.
Yep, stealthily he's trying to sneak up. Does a good job. I wouldn't have heard her.
Yeah,
and
Vader obviously sensed her.
Yeah, I mean Vader knew, but I think Vader knew
all along
from the beginning, from the beginning, who she was, what she was going to do. I don't think there was any doubt.
He did call her youngling, didn't he? Before
he did.
Yeah, so he was obviously aware exactly who she was, and
it was again. This was probably scene of the show, this episode. I thought he didn't even try. He was toying
with her, wasn't he?
He was toying with her massively. He didn't even use his own lightsaber. It stayed on his belt the whole time. So I thought it was actually brilliant. He was just stepping aside, moving about.
His skills were, I don't know, they were incredible. It almost reminded me of a kung fu film or something, where he was just like...
That's what I thought. I thought it totally reminded me of a kung fu movie. But everything she tried just didn't work. There was a great moment where she ignites the double-sided part of her lightsaber, and he has to make a quick movement because it's going to hit him in the head. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was going to say, and then he takes that from her.
Yeah, when it's spinning, he just takes it.
Essentially, as we saw Obi-Wan do to him in the flashback.
Yeah.
Breaks it in half and gives her another try.
Yeah. And again, this was brilliant. I think they probably had 2 hits of each other's lightsaber, and that was it. He disarms her, and then he pulls it back, the second one, and he does the pose, this pose with 2 lightsabers in his hands that Ahsoka uses when she fights with her 2 lightsabers. And I thought, again, whether that was done on purpose or not, I don't know, but it was kind of it was kind of a callback because he trained Ahsoka, so he would know how to hold them like that. So I thought, this is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And then again, he walks up with her, and finally,
she has her flashback.
She has her flashback again, where you see her as a child and her as an adult getting impaled with the lightsaber, which led to my issue with the episode.
Yeah. She's pretty good at surviving a lightsaber through the stomach.
Yeah. Unlike the Grand Inquisitor, who apparently has 2 stomachs, which is actually true.
Okay.
Utapauans have 2 stomachs, which is the reason why he survives. That's what everyone was saying online when he first got stabbed in episode 2. But so that aside, the Grand Inquisitor coming back, love Rupert Friend. I think he's absolutely brilliant as the Grand Inquisitor. Machiavellian,
sinister,
evil is just absolutely brilliant, and I quite like to see him in his own show. That would be great.
Really? Yeah. Part of me thinks he goes a little bit too far with it, a little bit too much. But
I can see that. I can see that.
A bit over the top. And I think about the 5th brother as well, going on to seeing talk.
I think they're always trying to battle between each other for status, aren't they? But I think when he's standing next to Vader, and Vader's so stoic and 1 or 2 words and then brutal, it's kind of nice to have a sidekick like the Grand Inquisitor that perhaps comes along and cracks a funny
lingo. Yeah,
exactly. So I didn't mind it. I thought it was quite good, and I think it was great for him to have his little bit of revenge on Reva as well.
Yeah,
for stabbing him in the stomach.
And his speech for that as well. Revenge helps you to live or something.
Yes, gives you the strength to survive, something like that. Yeah, it was.
You remember it better than me.
Yeah, no, I think it's something along those lines. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
but and then they obviously head off. I'm assuming to chase the ship in Darth Vader's Star Destroyer.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know about that. I think, as we know, that the hyperdrive's down, so they can get to him quite quickly. So where are they really heading? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Vader's Star Destroyer is in orbit. All he's got to do is get on his shuttle, get in the Star Destroyer, and if their hyperdrive isn't working, they should catch up with them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, something's got to happen because there's no weapons on that ship.
No.
So they're going to have to be rescued somehow. But there's a little part of me that thinks, is this it? Is that the last we've seen of Vader now? Is that the last we've seen of interaction between Obi-Wan and Vader?
No, surely not.
Surely not, no. I mean, I'm really worried because going back to what I said I'd come back to earlier, in Return of the Jedi, there's obviously that scene between Luke and Vader, and Vader says, Obi-Wan once thought as you do, as in trying to persuade Vader to come back to the light side. And he hasn't done that yet, has he? He hasn't had that moment where he's said to Vader, there's still good in you. You should come back. So we need to have that. But I am really worried that
that's if they even do it this series,
Well, that's the thing. But also, there's the whole thing about in episode 4 when Vader says, "When I left you, I was but the learner." And is this his lesson? Because he learned today that Obi-Wan can still used his weaknesses against him and got the better of him because of his training. So that says to me as well, this could be the last time that they see each other. But we were also promised the rematch of the century, and we definitely haven't had that yet.
No.
So hopefully I'm just fingers crossed. I hope I'm wrong. I think we might hopefully get another confrontation.
We'll see. And then it finishes on Tatooine with Luke.
Yes.
After a message to Obi-Wan's
communicator that Reva finds. Bloody had you dropped it.
We'll see where that goes.
Well, I mean, I think it's Reva's going to end up going there on her own. To try and take out Luke, because as you said earlier, I think she thinks Obi-Wan's betrayed her again in her eyes. So I think we'll see Reva head there. And I also don't think Vader has any idea that Leia was used at all in any way to draw out Obi-Wan. So because in the last episode, she didn't refer to the communicator being in Leia's droid. She just said that it'll be wherever he is. She didn't say it will be with Leia. So I don't think Vader knows anything about Leia, which is probably how they're going to get out of the fact that they can't keep kidnapping Leia all the time in order to draw Obi-Wan out. So I think that solves that little thing out. So I think we could see a Reva Obi-Wan confrontation with Bail, because Bail Organa said he was going to go there in the final episode. But there's still quite a lot to do in the last episode. So I'm hoping for a good hour and a half.
Nice. Well, we'll see. Right, we've got 1 minute left. Shall we go through some Easter eggs real quick?
There wasn't a huge amount, if any, really. Obviously there was the box with all the lightsabers in that had been collected.
Any Jedi in there?
Well, I did have a look online, and I can't say I recognised any, but I'm sure there must be some Easter eggs in there from Jedi that we know. But I think that's a work in progress because they're quite difficult to get a good look at. So I might have to trawl the internet, because I'm sure there's some cleverer people out there.
Some people would have found it, I would have thought.
Absolutely.
I'm just having a look at the image of it now, actually. But, I mean, you'll know better than I do. So,
I mean, I did see I saw a comment online that someone thought one of them was Quinlan Voss's lightsaber, but I don't think, seeing as we've had him mentioned, I don't think he would hand his lightsaber in. I think he'd probably still keep it. So I'm not sure about that. And it's not really even an Easter egg, but there was a couple of Trandosians that were on Jabiim.
Right. Which one's a Trandosian?
Bosk the Bounty Hunter from Empire Strikes Back. The lizard-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 of those on the planet Jabiim, and there was a Tarsant, and I think they were first seen in The Force Awakens. In fact, I think the first Tarsant we saw was perhaps the Chancellor of the New Republic that the First Order destroyed. Hosnian Prime, I think it was the name of the New Republic planet that had the Senate on. So again, not massively big Easter eggs.
Not big Easter eggs, no.
But I think there was so much going on in this episode that even if there were lots of Easter eggs, I was kind of so busy looking at what was going on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure more will pop up if anyone sees them watching this.
Definitely.
And anyone sees any of the Easter eggs that we've missed, chuck it in the comments below.
Absolutely. I'd love to know.
Yeah. That's it for today, I reckon. Also, we're on Instagram and Twitter. I've left the description I've left the tags in the description below. So check us out there.
Real.
That's it.
Yep. Don't forget
Cool.
to subscribe.
Nice. Right. Catch you later.
Wait.